in the history of Rome by Livy, chapter 30. Et ut, and so that the ordinum, the order, plural genitive, so the orders of all of them, verbus with strength, aliquid something, from the new people, ex novo populo, so that his passive adiacet, so they will be added to, so the order of all of them in strength would be added to something from these new people. Decem tomas, 10 squadrons of equitums, of knights, he legated, he picked or enrolled from these albans, legiones et veterae, so also the old veterans, he explivated, he filled up from the eos dem supplemento, from this new supplementary source, which is the new people, and he subscripts it novet, so the old legions were filled up and the new ones were created from the same source, basically. So hac fiducia, his confidence, virum, of this strength, so this confidence and strength, talus, the nominative, I want to say with this strength of confidence in his strength, he indicated a bellum. So he declared war on the Sabines, who were people. They were a gentai, they were a race in ea tempestate, in that time. Secundum, so could be favourable, it looks like it's second place here, to the Etruscans in their opulentissime. So it's a superlative form of they were very opulent, or they had a great deal of virus, genitive, and armusque. So very opulent in men and arms, second only to the Etruscans. So there's going to be a war. Utrumque, and on both sides, facte, there had been, it's a fact, inurias. Looks like injustices is the simplest words, and we get injuries from that as well. Ac res, and the matter of circumstances, nequiquam, tell from the eye here, it's in vain, were repetitor, so there was the injustices done, acts of aggression, and restitution or repetitio, seeking to reconcile, was all in vain in the res. Tullus, again, the nominative, add, taking the accusative, to the shrine of Veroni, the shrine of Feronia in English, frequenti, so there's a crowd in this mercato of merchants, or in these in the markets, in these crowded markets, you might want to say. Negotiators Romanos, Roman negotiators, Roman businessmen, he querebatur, he complained, had been comprehensost, they'd been grabbed, apprehended. The Sabines, now they're the nominative, something about suos, about their own people, prior, so prior to this complaint about at the shrine, the Sabines said that their suos, their own people, had confugisi, that's the infinitive of the perfect, they had fled into the grove, and at Rome, Roma, they were retentos. So Romans had been comprehendos, and Sabines were retentos. HAE, pronoun. These things were the causae belli, the causes or the just means for the war, ferabanto, these were related as. The Sabines, hord parum memores, not in the least mindful of or something, or remembering. Also that a partem of suarum virorums, and so a part of their own men, Rome, at Rome, had been locatum, had been placed or had moved there by Tatius, and the Romanum rem, the Roman state, nuper etiam, recently had even had an ejection or an injection, and auctem had been increased by this injection of Albani people, of the Alban people. And they circumspicere, they ipsi themselves, they looked around for external auxiliary, for help from outside sources. Here's a bit of a history lesson. The Etruria erat vicina. So the Etruscans were vicinas, they were neighbours. And the proximi, the closest of the Etruscans, genitive, were the Veientae people. Inde, just connecting. So then, because of residual ira, so residual ire from the war, or leftover anger from the war, maxime solicitatis. So there was a great soliciting or anxieties or wanting, so it looks like more of the solicited type, to defection, which is like rioting or going into rebellion. So because of all this anger left over from the war, there was some great motivation, you might want to say, and they traxerate. This is from the perfect, so it's a shortened form of traxerant. So they drag some voluntary minds along with them, and apud certain quosdam vagos, amongst these certain vagrant people, and from the inopi pleb. Inopi means they've got no resources or they're in poverty, so from the poor plebs, etiam even merces, which we get at markets and other things, there's probably payment here. This valuated, this strengthened their recruitment, made it stronger by this payment, because there was just a bunch of vagrants and very poor plebs. Publico auxilio nullo, so it looks like a slab of ablatives. Adiuto sunt, this means it's plural, it means the help was, and with this there was no public auxilio, no help from the public of this help, and valuita pud the Veientaes, and so it kept prevailing or stayed strong amongst the Veientaes. I'll just leave that little section out because it looks like that's taking away from this little clause. So the pacta fides, this is a loyal pact in deutarium, which is of a treaty or a truce, cum Romulo, with Romulus. So it kept prevailing or was strong amongst the Veientaes, this good pact and treaty that they'd made with Romulus. And minus miromes means this should be leastly amazing, de ceteris concerning the rest, and that nam just means, for it's not very amazing concerning the rest, but so of the help there was none from them publicly, and their fides of the pact that stayed strong amongst them, in which they'd made their treaty with Romulus. Actually, I did set up this here, I don't want to forget that. Mercs, pay, wages, reward, revenue, income. We also have a chastisement, punishment, penalty, and rent and bribe. And mercs also is another noun, this one here, merchandise and commodity goods and wares. So in the market there's merch, and for payment and bribes and rent we see mercedes as well, from mercs, merchandise. There's the declension of it. Okay, so cum bellum, something like when the war, utrum qui on both sides, pararant, was being prepared, with summa ope, with the greatest resources, and even beyond that. Verti, that looks like it's infinitive, okay. Viditor, and it seemed the res, the matter, was to that side, it would verti turn to, and utri primus. Which of the two would first inferent their arms, bring in arms? So who's the first to attack? It seemed to be where the res was, the matter. Tullus occupated. He took up the ground in agrum, in the field, and transiri. So he was they ordered the preparations, but Tullus moved first and transiried, which means he crossed over into the Sabinum agrum. So here's the initial warmonger who was prepared first. So pugna atrox. So there was an atrocious battle. Fuit, it was. It's perfect. Ad silvam malatosam. Close to or near the silvam, which is the woods, the malatosiam woods. Ubi, where at also the peditum peditus, fourth declension, where the infantry, quidam robo, with a certain strength, and the ceterum, the rest, the octo equicatatu, they have been increased in their cavalry, nupa recently, plurum mostly. So the peditum did with their certain strength, and looks like plurum mostly, It was the rest of them with an increased cavalry. Anyway, the Romana Aeques, this is the adjective form. The Roman battle lines evaluated. They prevailed. They were the strongest. Okay. Ab equitibus repente invectus, so an invection's an incursion. So by the cavalry, an incursion, repente means suddenly, and it's in the ablative, we've got ab the preposition. And the ordinines, so the rows, sabinorum, of the Sabines, were tabatai, disturbed, confused. Nec pugna, neither could they fight, they then. Pod, which can't take the infinitive, that's why that's there. So neither then did they constare, they couldn't just stand there or hold their ground to them, the illis, nor could, with a fuga, nor by flight, were they able to explicare, to unencumber themselves, to like tied up in knots, it literally means. So they're not able to extract themselves sine magna cade, without great slaughter. So things are going good for the cavalry, as we saw before. Chapter 31, De Victus Sabinus, ablative absolute. With the Sabines De Victus defeated, so now it's in tense of time, so this has happened. So after that, cum in magna gloria, when in great glory, and with magnus opibus, with great resources, the regnum of Tullius, the kingdom of Tullius, and the tota Romana res, the whole Roman state, in the perfect tense here, in pluperfect, or whoever you want to actually, cum takes a subjunctive, etc. Nuntiatum, it was announced to the regi, to the king, and the patribuses, the senators, the fathers, that in with the ablative, in Mount Albano, it had pluvisse, that's the perfect infinitive, it had rained with lapidibusses, of stones. Quod, something like which will take it, or because, cum when vix posset credi, which is scarcely, vix is scarcely able, posset, to be believed, to be credited. Missus, they sent out a plural amount of people, add id to this, and we have a verb of motion plus a supine, which shows the purpose. So they were sent to this for the visendum. Let's have a look at the prodigies. They take these things as omens, I'm guessing. And in conspectu, in which case when they looked at it, it was hord alita quam. It was not different than, so it's the same as, cum grandinam glomerates. When grandinam is hail, when hail conglomerates, in the accusative, these winds here could be nominative. So when the winds conglomerate hail on the ground by agunting it, by moving it or making actions, Crebri probably lapides again, so it's like frequent stones which are cakittering, that's a redoubled perfect, kakitterade from the kalo, from the heavens. Again, so it was scarcely able to believe. They sent people to investigate this project. When they looked at it, it was not different than when lots of hails conglomerated on the ground, forced on by the wind, and a lot of, or a frequent amount of stones have fallen from the heavens or the sky. Visi. So it seemed even, or dire, to hear a vocam in Gentum. Okay, how's this going to work? So it seemed even that they heard a huge voice from Samailuco Cacuminus. From the top of the grove, at the top of the mountain, it looks like a cacuminus. So it seemed, what have we got? So that, or as, in the ritu patrio, in the right of their fathers, the Albanos, plural, had facarented, had made a sacra, made a religious ceremony or something in the way of their fathers, quae veluit, which were as if they dis quoque simul cum patria relictus. Okay, so it looks like they had left their gods, obviously the deities, also at the same time in their patria, their fatherland, and had given over to oblivioni, to oblivion. Okay, and ought either. So we're going to have an either. Either they had sceperonted, they had taken up Romana sacra. Okay, so this was the sacra of their fathers in the way. It looks like they're taking up Roman holy rites, and so it looks like they've been over to forgetfulness of their own, and even maybe they've got their own fortuna and taken up the Roman ones. Fit as happens. Oberate. So erate means they're angry. I'm guessing ob is a strengthener or something. So they become very angry. They had reliquent, left the cult of their gods. Dium. I might just Google that for the hell of it. Okay, so Lewis and Short's dictionary, oberaska. It's just araska with ob in front, to be angry at anything, mostly post-Augustan. Okay, back to the plot. Okay, so Romanus to the Romans, quoque also, abio dem prodigo, but from the same prodigy or omen, a novendial sacrum publicae susceptimus. So the Romans took up, it's singular there, they took up a 9-day novendiale public sacraments, or public some sort of holy rites or something. SCU, one of my favourite either ors, he takes one or two words, by the voce celeste, by the voice of the heaven dwellers or something, from Albano Monte, from the Alban Mountain, Missa sent, so voce is female, either by the voice sent from the heavenly voice sent from the top of Mount Alban, nam ed quoque, for this is also handed down, and here's the other SCU, or by the Monitu Haruspicium, or by the advice of a soothsayer type person, a Horospikes. Okay, so Horospikes is plural. Anyway, they're man-suited, perfect. They remained, Curte certainly, a solemn neuter, as quandoque, so that whenever there's idem the same, prodigium, which is neuter, whenever there's the same solemn prodigy, nuntiorator, announced, there would be feriae per novem dies. There would be a feriae, which is holidays, per novem dies agerentur. So that was just another way of they would conduct a 9-day festival or holiday, and that's it for the day.